view of the New York City skyline, and just at the foot of New York Harbor dwells a proud lady, Elizabeth. Proud of her historic past, Elizabeth is New Jersey's oldest city. Founded in 1664 by English craftsmen, she is the state's first English settlement and became its first capital in 1665. Proud to be named after a Lady Elizabeth Carteret, wife of Sir George Carteret, Elizabeth has also been called the gateway to the Revolution. Proud of her present economy, Elizabeth is the most stable of New Jersey's big 6 cities. Her downtown business district has virtually no vacancies. Her many industries, both large and small, provide a strong manufacturing base. She houses 3 major hospitals, which together are the city's biggest employer. She is also home to the world's largest container ship port. More than 2,300 ships are serviced, and 10 million long tons of ocean cargo are handled each year, earning for her the title, the container ship capital of the world. Proud to be the county seat of Union County since 1857, Elizabeth is New Jersey's 4th largest city with a population of more than 110,000. She is a blend of the old and the new. Tree-lined neighborhoods retain her suburban charm and ethnic flavor, while high-rise apartments provide urban living for young business people.
Elizabeth is a pretty solid town. It has been for a couple of hundred years, and it's still the same old city. It's a melting pot city. People are changing, meaning the ethnic groups are changing. But there's still a lot of money being spent in the city of Elizabeth. There's still a lot of activity. And in my opinion, it's a very dynamic city.
Proud of her vast transportation system, Elizabeth is also known as the rail and harbor city.
With the addition of exit 13A off the turnpike, we have seen enormous changes in investment potential and development potential around there. It's meant that people can bypass a lot of the Route 1 and 9 area, particularly the heavy trucks, and get down to the seaport, and those people wanting to use Center City can more easily come into Midtown. We see all kinds of transportation access really to be the key reason why people would want to work in Elizabeth and live in Elizabeth.
People in the cities don't have to rely quite as much on auto transportation as they do out in the suburbs, so their workers can more easily come to their places of work without a great amount of hassle or having to depend upon bus routes and so forth. So in that respect, we think that things look very good for the city of Elizabeth.
The container ship port means indeed that Elizabeth's accessibility to shipping is probably the best in the world. We were recently designated by the Community Development Trade Association based in Rhode Island as one of 10 cities in which we are providing direct, intensive technical assistance to small manufacturers that we felt had either import or export, and particularly export potential in other markets, particularly in Europe and South America. And the program works both with an assessment phase, which we're currently going through, with assessing those companies that have this export potential, as well as linking them to potential buyers in other parts of the world. And that's a program that's pretty much in its infancy, and we see it as a big gainer for Elizabeth, particularly our access to the port. Freight yards are becoming more and more critical, particularly the freight yards that are integrated into the port facilities, because what we're finding is that currently, as Conrail and other freight carriers are doing better and better jobs at marketing how well they can do and becoming more efficient, that they're taking away some of the business that's currently going to the trucking industry. So in that kind of a competitive scenario, Elizabeth will be much better because we have both.
Proud of her financial base, Elizabeth is a strong, sound city.
Of course, you can't do anything in a city without having a good, solid financial base. And while it is something you can't see, I think it's something that our taxpayers realize we have probably the lowest, it is the lowest tax rate of any big city in the state of New Jersey. We have the best credit rating of any big city. We have the highest rate of collection of taxes of any big city, and that's important, the cash flow that's necessary. More than 97% of the people in our city pay their taxes on time. It gives us the cash, the wherewithal to carry on with the budget obligations. We have a debt limit that is modest compared, a debt that is modest compared to other big cities, and we still have a borrowing capacity in the many millions of dollars, while other cities have exceeded their debt limit.
Elizabeth is also proud of her thriving business district.
I don't know of any stores that are for rent on either Broad Street or Elizabeth Avenue today. Elizabeth Avenue has always been the most heavily traveled business street in the city of Elizabeth, much more so than Broad Street, as a matter of fact. And there was a period of about 20 years ago when I would notice a lot of empty stores appearing on Elizabeth Avenue. And then with the influx of Cubans at that time coming into the area, they started to rent the stores and opening up jewelry stores and all kinds of shops. And I would have to give them a great deal of credit for revitalizing Elizabeth Avenue and other little streets in that area.
Esta es muy linda.
Proud of her solid infrastructure, Elizabeth is in good condition for new growth.
When I was serving as a freeholder in Union County, and Mayor Bursick, who is now Superior Court Judge Steve Bursick, was serving as mayor of the city of Elizabeth, and Florence Dwyer was our congressperson. The three of us recognized the fact that after 100 years or more of flooding damage in our town and loss of lives in some instances, that we had to do something about it. So we made a pact, literally a pact in blood, that we were going to see this thing carried through. And after almost 25 years, it has finally become a reality. The taxpayers of the city of Elizabeth spent millions of dollars improving their internal sewer system, which was a requisite, a prerequisite before the federal government would give us the money.
Just now we're beginning to realize the fruits of that project now that it's been completed. Flood control, which we believe will be successful and up to now has been successful, means, among other things, that most of the people, homeowners who up to this point had been paying flood insurance, will no longer be paying flood insurance. We see developments like the Franklin State Bank office building, which is right on the edge of the river, which never would have been built without the $75 million flood control project. And we had another redevelopment of an apartment complex further up the river that also would not have been approved by the federal government if we weren't able to document the fact that the Elizabeth River had been tamed.
Proud of her present school system, Elizabeth was also the original site of Princeton University. In 1746, the first Presbyterian parish house opened its doors as Princeton University. In 1767, the building became the Old Academy, where Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr were classmates. Still a supporter of higher education, Elizabeth has proudly been the home of Union County College's Urban Center since 1970. There, the Employment Skills Center provides job training and basic education, and the Institute for Intensive English offers English instruction to speakers of other languages. The County College is also considering expanding its facilities to Elizabeth's Midtown area.
We have been working closely, and the city has been working closely with Union County College to try to locate, identify, and properly fund a major campus facility, which will be an urban campus facility right in the heart of our center city.
One of the other great things that I think our school system has done is to construct the first community-type elementary school in the entire nation. And that's the type of a school where the doors open early in the morning and probably at 7 o'clock, and they don't close until midnight. It accommodates the educational needs of young people, of adults who work during the day but at nighttime want to get involved in some sort of educational or recreational facility. So we teach more than 16, 17 hours a day in George Washington School, as we do also in our new high school. The Elizabeth High School is also classified as a community type school.
Proud of